Let's have a conversation about West Pokot County. And the Deputy Governor of that lovely county, Robert Komolle, is our guest for the next hour. Bona DG, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you very much.
That's a hot seat of the situation.
Thank you very much.
Coming from West Pokot, when we call hot, do we understand what hot is?
It depends.
Yeah?
The circumstances around it.
Every time we ask ourselves, what's the headquarters of West Pokot County? The administrative headquarters.
Okay. The administrative headquarters is Kapenguria.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the biggest town is?
The biggest town is Makutano.
Makutano.
Yes.
How far is Makutano from Kapenguria?
Just some 2-3 kilometers.
How about
It is just the CBD, yes. It is within.
So
Yeah.
Okay. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
This gentleman called CT Muga will welcome you with the day's proverb. Every week he goes into an African country. He picks proverbs from that country. He gives us a proverb a day. This week he's in?
The Republic of Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. If you have been on someone else's farm, you cannot say you are the only true farmer.
If you have been in somebody else's farm, you cannot say that you're the only true farmer.
No, you can't say that. Even if you want to say it, it will not be true.
Bonadiji, what's your interpretation of this?
Maybe you can, for the sake of, repeat the proverb.
Happily.
Yes.
If you have been on someone else's farm,
Yes.
umetembelea farm ya mtu mwingine,
Yes.
you cannot say you are the only true farmer. Because other people also have farms.
Yes. So that is true because being a farmer, of course, you normally believe in yourself that I'm the only probably true farmer. But when you visit to other farms and probably you've been into other people's farms, then you realize also that it is not only you that you are specialized in farming, but also others are also doing the same thing that you are doing, and probably more better than yourself.
What do you think that proverb is telling us?
Probably if whatever actually you are doing, some other guys can also do better than yourself. Okay.
You can tap ideas
Yes.
from others.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Bonadiji Robert Komolle, this is your first term as Deputy Governor of West Pokot County, but it's not your first term in politics.
Yes.
You have served in politics before.
Yes.
Introduce us first to Robert, and then we'll talk about West Pokot.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, as you've mentioned, I'm Robert Komolle, the Deputy Governor of West Pokot County. As you've said, I started politics in 2013. And first of all, I was a student leader in the University of Nairobi. When I was in University of Nairobi, I was a leader of Pokot University Student Association, a chairperson. So from that's where the politics started from me. And 2013, I served as a constituency manager for Kacheliba. For the then MP for Kacheliba, Honorable Mark Okoh. Served it for 5 years. And then I managed to fire as an MCA in the year 2017. And I succeeded to be an MCA for Swarm Ward. That is in Kacheliba constituency, yes. But so many people refer the ward is the landmark of the area is Kacheliba. It is Kacheliba. We have a Kacheliba hill there. So, but the ward itself is called Swarm, which is bordering Uganda. So
You served as MCA
I served as an
for
MCA
5 years.
For 5 years. That is 2017, 2022.
Right.
So when I was again trying to do the second term, and then the proposals came in for the Deputy Governor. So now I'm serving as a Deputy Governor of West Pokot.
Kabisa. So you have experience managing a constituency.
Yes.
As a constituency manager.
Yes.
You've experienced legislating in the county assembly.
Yes.
Oversighting the executive. Now you are in the executive, being oversighted by the county assembly.
Yes.
And working with the national government. So you are all rounded already.
Yes.
Okay. West Pokot, we hear West Pokot many times in the news. We have West Pokot when it comes to cattle rustling, what is called cattle rustling, banditry, and all these other sorts of violence in West Pokot. But we also hear about West Pokot when it comes to agriculture. In some areas, you produce some proper agricultural produce, but you're also very good in terms of livestock and that industry. But also there are very many other things that we don't know about West Pokot.
Yes.
What are these things that we don't know about West Pokot?
Probably what you don't know about West Pokot is the rich culture of West Pokot. When people come to Kenya, sometimes they tend to refer a culture of Kenya to probably the Maasai culture.
Yes.
But we have also a rich culture in West Pokot. We have also tourist attraction sites, like, for example, the Nasolot Game Reserve, where you can go there and visit and see some elephants and other wildlife, wild animals. I think in Nasolot we have the biggest elephants in Africa, I suppose.
Biggest?
Yes, the elephant. The elephant.
Meaning what? Big in size?
Yes, in size.
Right.
And even the numbers which are there also.
How many are there?
I don't have the correct record for the numbers, but there are many. And that is one area where you can visit West Pokot and see for yourself the elephants, the animals, the wild animals.
You know, I'm curious. If there's so many, how come we don't hear of this human-wildlife conflict we hear in other places of the country where they have elephants? We have never heard of human-wildlife conflict coming from West Pokot.
Yes. Because there is a restricted corridor for the wildlife, and we have also some conservancies that they take care of those animal human conflict, because the community itself have owned the conservancy, and they are trying to find ways of reducing the kind of conflict between the wild animals and the human.
Okay.
So it is. I talked about the culture. I talked about the rich minerals in West Pokot. I talked about the National Game Reserve, and there is also the Takwel Dam, which it is also another attraction site. And probably they are also peace-loving people. If you come to West Pokot, and probably if you talk of Kapenguria, for example, or the Makutano town, in your statistics is a town with the lowest crime rate. Yes, you cannot compare it with Nairobi and the other places. And I said it is they love peace.
It's peace loving.
Yes.
This is an oxymoron. West Pokot and peace.
Yes.
I think West Pokot is a beacon of peace.
Yes.
Are you sure?
So all these stories we hear about West Pokot are just they're fabricated.
Mostly they are fabricated.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we have a very small area where there is some significant number of conflicts along the borders of Turkana and West Pokot and Elgeyo Marakwet.
So they're not fabricated, but what the situation is that it is a small area as compared to the whole county in terms of what is happening.
Pokot and Baringo as well.
Yeah, so they're little parts, but unfortunately what has happened in those areas has been quite devastating in terms of this conflict that we see between two sides. So of course we know that, the bad news travels a lot faster than the good news, or it's more, we pick up on it a lot more.
Yes.
But by virtue of the fact that it is reported, we hear testimonies of it, and it has been for a very, very long time.
Yes.
Means that it's an issue, is it not?
Yes.
So even as we say, yes, the county has all these wonderful things, and it's fantastic, whereby there can be an option for development, there can be so many things that can be going on, and one would hope that they are. Unfortunately, this is an issue. The border, West Pokot, Baringo, the border, West Pokot and Turkana, Elgeyo Marakwet, it's happening all the time. So, and people have said it's cattle rustling. Others have said no, it's not cattle rustling. It's an attempt at genocide to clear out a particular group of people. The speculation is rife that they are political leaders, that they are, big muscled economic men and women who want to insist that that conflict goes on so that they can benefit something, it's an issue, Mweshimiwa. What's the problem?
Okay, maybe because Latiff started from the point of peace-loving people. Yeah, it's true. I started that one because the entire West Pokot, maybe the smallest percentage is the one which is having some small areas where there is conflict. So what I can say is it is fabricated because the area is very small where there is some conflict. And the reasons, and I want to say there is a lot of improvement because some years back, the bigger area of West Pokot was not very peaceful. And because there was a border of Uganda and West Pokot, which was by then with a lot of conflict between the Sabot from Uganda and Karamojong from Uganda. And again now the Turkana in Kenya, and then the Elgeyo Marakwet, and even the Luyas and some Sabot in Kenya. So there were a lot of conflict years back, but because of education, because of some development which were done, the conflict reduced significantly. So the reason for this kind of conflict is somehow underdevelopment. Because if you talk of, for example, some parts of West Pokot bordering Turkana and Elgeyo Marakwet, if you go to those areas, they have not been opened up. There are no roads. There are no schools. There are no health facilities.
Are there people?
But the people are there. So, but when you come to Makutano town, or some parts of West Pokot like Leland and other areas, people are living with harmony and they are very peaceful because they have already gone to school, they have access to education, they have access to health facilities, and they have also access to good roads. They can do agriculture, they can do livestock rearing without necessarily conflicting with their neighbors. But because of this kind of underdevelopment in those regions which are still conflicting, that is where now the problem is, because it is the responsibility of the government to make sure that the roads have been opened in those areas, so that even if it is about patrolling, the officers can also get roads to use for patrolling. And if it is about schools and health facilities, the community will also own that the government is with them. But when now you talk of people who are in those bushes, they don't know if the government exists. So, and probably they are only surviving on the livestock rearing. And because some of those areas are dry, that is the only economic livelihood.
So there'll be conflict over pasture.
This is about so when now these grazings happens, there is sometimes a conflict of pasture and water. Maybe the others from West Pokot, they can probably cross to Turkana side because of some relevant because of the pasture and the water. And from Turkana also they cross to West Pokot. Same to Elgeyo Marakwet to West Pokot, and West Pokot to Elgeyo Marakwet, and to probably Baringo. So the main reason of conflict is because of this scramble for pasture and water. So, and if the government can go in and probably find ways of providing alternative ways of living and opening those areas, providing with health facilities and constructing education facilities,
it would improve a lot.
It will improve.
Bwana Deputy Governor, when you say the government should go in, if the government can go in, who do you refer to? You're the Deputy Governor.
Yes. I am referring to the national government. Why? Because there are some devolved functions.
Right.
For example, the health facilities, and probably we can do roads.
Health is a devolved function.
Yes. And
it's a job of the county government of West Pokot to put up health facilities in those areas.
Yes.
Some roads are devolved functions.
Yes.
It's the job of the county government of West
I
Pokot
agree.
to do the roads.
Yes. But now there is this element of the security of the area.
Okay.
It is a national government function.
Yes.
We have health facilities in those areas. Some of those areas have health facilities. But there is no one who can utilize those health facilities. You cannot construct a health facility where there is an insecurity, because who is going to use them? So it is the responsibility of we are talking of the government to mean the national government. As a county government, we have tried. We've made some boreholes in those areas. We've made some water pans in those areas. And we've also tried to build some structures for health for health. Those are health facilities. But sometimes now these cannot be utilized because of the insecurity.
Okay.
And it is the responsibility of the national government to make sure that there is a relevant peace in those areas so that this can be used. So the coming in of the national government is trying to invest in those areas by bringing resources for opening the security roads, and again putting police posts in those areas so that they can man those areas now and for peace to be seen.
Deputy Bonadiji, I actually to an extent agree with you that conflict usually thrives in a place where there's underdevelopment.
Yes.
We know this.
Yes.
You've talked about sinking boreholes, erecting water pans and all of these things. Were they used? Did people actually use them? And then was there, because if what you're saying then is the case, did they use these resources and then for a time we saw that there was reduced conflict in these areas? Did that actually happen?
Yes, that is why there is an improvement of this kind of, this conflict have reduced. It is not like before. And because of probably the coming in of the devolution, the coming in of the county government, so we've tried to sink those boreholes and do water pans, and I can say there is some improvement, relevant improvement in terms of peace. It's not like before, but it is not yet. It is not yet completely peaceful because we have those grey areas. Like the national government also are not coming in handy to provide or to invest in those areas.
Let me ask this question, Mheshimiwa.
Yes.
When you say there is conflict, conflict often implies that the communities who live within that enclave don't get along.
Yes.
But then again, it could mean that there's something they're fighting over.
Yes.
You mentioned resources.
Yes.
One,
Yes.
are the wonderful citizens of West Pokot pastoralists? Do you have many cows?
Yeah.
Your neighbors have many cows.
Yes.
All right. Now, if it's conflict about natural resources, because you said you have minerals, I would have assumed that when these are exploited, they come along with development, and this development means roads, power, schools, and so forth. Have these things been exploited?
Yes, that is a long-term solution. We are inviting, through His Excellency the Governor of West Pokot, investors to come to West Pokot. And we've tried to open up those areas by bringing in investors who are ready to do mining. And as we speak also, we've invited the Semtech, that is to construct a factory for cement in West Pokot, that is in Ortum. And I think the end of February or beginning of March, it will be opened by the President of Kenya.
What will be open?
The cement factory in West Pokot. That is one of the minerals, the limestone, that we have in abundance. So that is one area where it will see this kind of change of lifestyle. That, if, for example, if we have a factory, then we will have many people being employed in those areas.
And the land where you find this limestone, is it owned by individuals?
Yes, and they benefited from, because the investor bought the land from the individuals.
Bought?
Yes.
And so how, just bought, so thereafter, whatever proceeds that will come from that factory, they will have no say in it?
Of course, there are some agreements. It was not completely taken, because now, of course, you talk of minerals. It is the national government is in charge of minerals, and there is an agreement with an investor with the national government for a period of some time.
What portion comes to the national government?
Yes. So,
but there's a low-hanging fruit here.
Yes.
And at least the cattle I was interested in.
Yes.
In that region, is there any county that has an abattoir? Because that's a region that we are told there's an abundance of cattle.
Yes.
Do you have an abattoir in that region?
The current governor constructed an abattoir in the year during his term, 2013, 2017, but it was not complete. But when the new governor came in, because the Professor Lonyangapuo, he was not able to complete that abattoir. But when we now came in, we've started again reviving it, and it's almost complete. Everything is ready, and it's awaiting only the opening.
Where is it located?
It is in Chebraria.
Does that area have roads?
Yeah, we have road, tarmac road. It was done by the previous regime of President Uhuru and William Ruto when they were the two pairs. So we have roads. It is accessible.
Easily accessible?
Yes.
And it's far away from bandits?
City, there are no bandits. You cannot clearly tell where the bandits are, because nowadays they are not there actually. But they are very. You can't locate them.
I say this in humor, but
yes,
what my colleague Ndu alluded to,
yes.
When people have a resource and they can monetize and benefit from it, because there's a value add, and that's where the abattoir comes in. That is one of the fastest, surest way of changing people's way of life.
Absolutely.
Because they then realize that you will gain more with this activity than the other activity.
The other one.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have actually started that one. And it's in its completion stage, and the president will open it. Okay. So we will at least change this narrative of banditry.
And you'll invite us.
And of course.
But the DG, the national government has been on the ground in your county and 5 others since early last year in the security operation. And you're saying that still you're not able to access many of these areas despite the heavy presence, presumably, of police aided by the military. Are you saying that it's not bearing fruit?
Yes, I can say it's not bearing fruit as such, because I want to take that one to the cabinet secretary, that is the CS Kindiki. He started very well. He started very well when he was when he came to West Pokot. He went to Turkana. He went to Elgeyo Marakwet to talk to the communities with their leadership. But from that point, I don't know what happened. The Honorable CS started moving alone. Yes, because there were some schools who were closed in the areas of Sigor constituency, these areas of Cheptule, and areas of Kacheliba constituency, areas of Ombolion, and other areas of Kapenguria constituency, the Ndu ward. We had shared with CS Kindiki, the leadership of West Pokot, led by the governor of West Pokot, His Excellency Governor Kachapin, and the entire team of the MPs. So because there was some conflict, there were some complaints. We were seeing unfairness from the government, because when the CS he was visiting in most cases the Elgeyo Marakwet side and Baringo and Turkana, and we laid some complaints. He started coming, and we shared our views. And the views we shared is about the underdevelopment that I talked about. We shared the scramble for pasture and water. And we talked of trying to build more dams along the border of Turkana and West Pokot, along the border of West Pokot and Elgeyo Marakwet, so that now there is no conflict between the two communities, because when the Pokot cows crosses to Turkana in search of water, definitely there is a complaint from the other area, or the other way around. And because of that reason, why don't the government come in to supplement whatever the county government is doing in building dams and whatsoever. So those are the areas we presented to Waziri, and also establishment of police posts. But sadly, Latiff, is the CS agreed that those schools which have been abandoned will be rehabilitated, and there will be some GSU officers that will be put in along Kainok Road. Actually, there was that establishment of the GSU post, and we laid also a lot of complaints over the NPRs. But I don't know how the national government works, because we had agreed initially that the presence of NPR should be across all the counties. If it will be in Elgeyo Marakwet, then let it be in West Pokot. But I don't know what happened with the CS Kindiki, because he decided to deploy NPR in Elgeyo Marakwet and Turkana and Baringo, leaving West Pokot County. So we were wondering whether West Pokot County is in Kenya or is in Uganda. So those are the complaints we had as leaders of West Pokot for a very long time. And it took like almost a year for the CS to resolve that kind of unfairness.
Has it been resolved?
Yes, some weeks ago.
Weeks?
How
Yes.
has it been resolved?
Now, we were given NPR.
Okay.
We were given NPR. But there was unfairness initially.
What is the advantage of having an NPR?
It is just because to supplement the police, because the police are not sufficient.
Because we did hear that one of the solutions that would be
Yes.
sought after.
Yes.
I mean, looking at this area, I mean, Mheshimiwa Kosing was here and he said, what we need actually is that for I think it was every kilometer.
Yes.
Or every 100,
10.
however, 10
Yes.
kilometers, whatever.
Yes.
If there was presence
Yes.
of some kind of force,
Yes.
then these folks who do this business would
Yes.
then be discouraged from it. I mean,
Yes.
that's probably putting it politely, but all right.
Yes.
So, I mean, it has been suggested in the past.
Yes.
The question is then, since that engagement, have we seen that?
There is no establishment of those police posts. We have only one GSU camp which was brought in. We have the NPR after complaining for a very long time, it led even to some of us being summoned to DCI for just mentioning those things. But you see, up to now, the CS comes to West Pokot without informing anybody. He goes supervise the schools which are under renovation without any leader. So how do we move along when the CS goes to West Pokot, goes to Elgeyo Marakwet without even the leadership of those areas to see the best way of bringing children to school or people to school? So that is the failure of the CS. And number two, the NPR, the National Police Reservists, which were brought, there are no facilitation for them. There are no. In fact, it's now the county government which are taking care of those.
What
NPR.
does that mean when you say no facilitation for them?
Because we had agreed to put them in camps so that they can be at least recognized that these are NPR to avoid infiltrating into the communities and probably mixing up with probably the purported bandits. So we had agreed that let us put them on a camp so that we give them food and they can do the security orders to supplement the police officers. But up to date, it is the county government providing to them, and including the GSU officers.
You are feeding the GSU?
Yes. So that is where the lapse is. And I want to give an example of the Ugandan government, because we border Uganda.
Yeah.
When Museveni did an operation, I just want to refer to Uganda. When Museveni did an operation, yes. When there was an operation in Amudat and Karamojan region, Museveni assured the Ugandan citizens, the Pokots in Uganda and the Karamojan, that if you give me guns, I will protect you. I will restore your lives which have been stolen by the bandits. So, and everybody took the guns to the government. And Museveni made sure along the border of the Pokot in Amudat and Karamojan and the Sabot, there were UPDF officers along those areas. And even the border between Uganda and Kenya. You have UPDF officers along the borders. So Museveni assured these people that when you give me your guns, I will protect you. And he did it. And he came with some programs of livelihoods, restoring animals for the locals. Because you are told, somebody is complaining of my cows have been stolen. Then Museveni said, no. Yes, I know, but I will restore those cows. Don't go back to revenge. Don't retaliate. So what is happening in Kenya, it will take us many years to resolve because everybody is doing his own things alone. The CS comes to West Pokot, goes to Turkana. The thing I was trying to advise the CS is if he wants to see peace in those corridors of Kerio Valley, is to bring all the leaders together. Have a 5-day retreat. The Turkana leaders, West Pokot, Elgeyo Marakwet, Baringo, Samburu, let have a retreat. You know, President Ruto went to Naivasha for a retreat for his cabinet and the members of parliament. If you can take 5 days, it will not cost us as a government to have a retreat so that we can find solution for this kind of conflict. So those are that is where the CS is failing, actually. Yes.
That's the national government's failure.
Yes.
Can you do the same as the county governments? Can the county governors of Turkana, West Pokot, Elgeyo Marakwet, Baringo meet on 5-day retreat? Yes. Invite the national government. If they come, fine. If they don't come, at least start a conversation. In every
reconciliation, Latiff, there must be a mediator. So we perceive CS Kindiki as a mediator because Governor Gachapin cannot call the Governor Turkana for a mediator. Who is a mediator? So we see a national government as a person to unite these whole leaders of the regions. Yes.
We hear stories as well, and we've heard it from some leaders from the Pokot and also from elsewhere, that because of this lack of schools, lack of job opportunities, it's the very young people, young boys as young as 9, 10, 11, who are walking around with AK-47s looking after cattle. And they are socialized to look after cattle. And because they have a gun, to them that's not violence. It's like having a stick.
Yes.
And then as they grow up older, it's all they know. How many schools or how many schools do you have in West Pokot where you've tried to rehabilitate some of these young boys who are involved in cattle herding right now?
For now, we have several schools in West Pokot. And along those border areas, in fact, those areas that have been left because of the insecurity, 7 schools have been closed. And there is it's already established.
7 closed?
Yes.
Nobody goes to school anymore?
Yes.
No teachers, no students?
Yes. And that is where we are trying to work with the CS so that we can see how this school can be rehabilitated and people try to bring now their children to school. But there is even yesterday, there were some gunshots. Even yesterday, yes. In those areas of Cheptulel and Elgeyo Marakwet.
Who's shooting the other?
It's some probably bandits, which is not known from which region. And because there is no heavy presence of the police in those areas, so the bandits have their corridors.
Okay. You're a leader in the region.
Yes.
So I've got to ask you this direct question. We know from what we've been told by CS Kindiki, and also some of what we've been told by the CS for Defense, Ednah, is that this security operation is deploying adequate resources in numbers, boots on the ground, in facilitation, vehicles, armored personnel vehicles, in even using aircraft in the region, and then bringing in boots from the military barracks where KDF are involved in these operations. Many soldiers on the ground. Are you saying that this is not the case? And if the soldiers and police officers are not in West Pokot, where are they? Have you seen them? Have you heard about them in Turkana, in Elgeyo Marakwet, in Baringo?
The security personnel's presence are there, but not that sufficient. And they have not been facilitated. You can imagine the issues of GSU. I'm telling you that it's the county government of West Pokot feeding them. The police officers in the county government of West Pokot, even the office of the county commissioner, are not facilitated very well. So it is the responsibility of the county government again to provide fuel for patrolling. So, and this is a national government function. The police officers are there. Those who are in Turkana, they will also play as per the leadership of Turkana. It is no longer a national government police officers.
Is Turkana feeding the police on the Turkana side?
Yeah, probably, I think so. Because if you are feeding them in West Pokot, even then probably the presence of police in county government of Turkana, probably the county government is feeding them.
And there's no understanding of cost sharing here.
And because the county commission of West Pokot and the county commission of Turkana, they don't speak as a national government officers sometimes. So that is a challenge, because now there is not these mediation processes from
there's
the national
something that I find puzzling. Huh?
Yes.
I'm going back to this subject of the NPR. Huh? I think my understanding of their role is outdated.
Yes.
Because I first came across them in Tana River. But they were members of the community. They did not have a camp. They were members of the community.
Yes.
What made the difference was that they were armed by the government.
Yes.
I think they had, in those days, they had G3s.
Yes.
Okay? But they had armed. And I remember asking why it was. And they said, you see, you need a local because he knows the terrain and he knows locals.
Yes.
And people know him. So he will understand what's going on.
Yes.
But you bring an outsider, that person will not know what we know.
Yes.
Now, when you say they brought NPRs, are they looking for locals? And if they are, what process are they using? And these locals, what training do they have? And are they people who are accepted by the community? Because if you bring somebody who comes from an area and he's not accepted, again, he will not be effective. So, what is the situation? How do you arrive at determining who is the NPR, who's going to be in this place? Who determines it?
I think those NPRs who have been deployed by the national government, I can say, okay, the community accepts. They are the people who have been presented by the community.
Yes.
It is not. They were not unpicked.
Yes.
There was some public participation which were done, and they presented them. But the only area where there is a problem is when you don't give them a token or incentive or a stipend.
They're not given.
They are not given any so far up to now.
Are they given guns? Let me ask it.
They are given guns.
Are they given bullets?
Of course, they are getting bullets, but the incentives of like at the end of the month you get something small. There is nothing like that. And then again, this when we proposed for them to be put in camps, again is the responsibility of the county government to again feed them. So now when we feed them, they tend to be the police officers of the county government of West Pokot and not the national government police.
See, this is the thing for me, that the things that you've described,
yes,
by your own testimony, that the schools are closed. So number one, a significant part of the community has been affected.
Yes.
General security in the area is an issue.
Yes.
Again, you've talked about gunshots having been heard yesterday by bandits. I don't even know where they're hiding. We've talked about the fact that livelihoods have been compromised because, water in the area, then people are fighting over this one thing. And we also know what the main economic activities are in this area. Those are fundamental things that are affecting people every day, for which government has a responsibility, whether you're looking at county government or whether you're looking at national government. And there are all these players in this arena. But the question is, if truly they are interested, and this is to all of you,
yes,
if truly there is an interest in instituting and maintaining a situation whereby, number one, there is peace, so that then development can then continue, we would see it. If there truly is an interest. So then I go back to one of the questions that I've always been asking. Who is benefiting from making sure that these clashes or these bandits or these rustlers continue? Who is benefiting from that? Because if we're saying the CS is he told us he would sleep there. If we're saying the CS is traveling, if we're saying county governments are trying, if we're saying county commissioners are trying, everybody is trying, but trying on their own. So is there someone that's benefiting from making sure that these sporadic conflicts continue? Because if it was the opposite, I think we would see that kind of reaction. And we don't see that, unfortunately.
That's why I'm saying everybody, there is no one who is benefiting from conflict. Because when every day you get phone calls from the members of the community about an attack, sometimes it's a nuisance. And no one would want to be that kind of a scenario. So I want to believe that if the national government will come in to mediate a process of meeting the leaders, I think that is where now we will probably find solutions to this. And I don't know, you said maybe the intention of where you are driving your question to, because, but I can assure you there is no one who is benefiting from this. And every other leader, including the Turkana leaders, I believe, and Margaret, would want to see peace.
I understand.
Yes.
But this is the thing. If a child is hungry, and my point is for that child to live,
yes,
I feed the child.
Yes.
We make effort.
Yes.
I take the child to the doctor. Doctor treats child, bring the child home, feed the child back to health.
Yes.
But we don't see that happening in concert.
Yes.
You've just told us now, NPR instituted. Okay,
Yes.
Who is facilitating for this reservist, knowing that if you don't, they cannot do their job, and the situation remains volatile.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you go and say, okay, we will finish? We know that economic activity snuffs out an issue of conflict. We have an abattoir, maybe it will be finished. We don't know where it will be finished. We have water plants. We don't know if we'll complete. We've suggested a dam. We don't know if it will happen. All of these things contribute to making sure that this situation of conflict thrives, in my opinion. Because if it was the opposite, we would see that people are actually doing what they said they were going to do.
And you give someone a gun, you give them ammunition, you don't give them a stipend.
Yes.
I mean, you are basically saying you want the situation to
And what
continue.
they see is cow.
Yes, and what they see is business, and a gun means power.
Yes.
What exactly have you created?
Yes.
You've basically exacerbated the
Yes.
situation.
Yeah, that's very
You've
true.
basically opened your mouth and said, you know what?
Yes.
Continue conflicting.
That is very true, and that's all of us. We did not want to have NPRs. We disagreed with the national government bringing back NPR because initially they had taken away guns from the NPRs, and it's brought peace because you can now identify which one is a gun from a bandit and a gun from a police. But when you have a police reservist, the NPR, and you hear a gun. But sometimes you cannot be able to trace. Is that a police, an NPR's gun, or is a bandit's? So we had proposed that we do not need guns. That is one of the areas where, when there will be a meeting, is we do away with the NPR, so that if we do a disarmament, it can be very easy to identify. Or if you meet someone on the road, you can easily identify we do not have guns in the bushes.
Yeah.
Because we only have guns with the police. So we had agreed that we should not have this NPR, but now I don't know how the national government is. That is the reason why when we come together and talk as leaders, the solution can come instead of probably the CS moving around alone.
Yes. How many heads of cattle does one herdsman look after?
It depends.
On average?
50, 100.
So how big is a herd? You know, a normal, ordinary herd, when you're driving around West Pokot and you meet with a herd of...
Maybe 100.
100?
Yes.
So there'll be like hundreds of different herds all over the place.
Yes.
So when you steal 100, is it possible for them to disappear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How so?
Because of the force. If people use force, of course, you cannot trace. You probably trace up to some point, and there is no one who own the responsibility.
Where will the animals go to?
Where the animals themselves, not the people, the animals, where are they hiding? Because if a cow were to walk from here to the gate,
yes,
and I followed 5 minutes, I would find the cow, surely.
Yes.
I would have seen traces. The cow
Yes.
went somewhere.
Yes.
Now we're talking about hundreds.
Yes.
Where will they hide? Where are they hiding?
Now it is because now let me give you an example. Because we have the police officers in West Pokot and Turkana. So when cows crosses to Turkana, for example, there is no cooperation with the
police in Turkana.
With the police in Turkana.
Or there is cooperation.
There is no cooperation. So now the cows will get disappeared because you can't trace them. And there were some cows which were killed, about 200 cows. But there was this kind of confirmation whether the cows were killed or not. And they were killed by the police officers. But now, the security team from the Turkana side, because the cows were killed in Turkana side, but they are Pokot cows. They just said that is not confirmed. But in reality, it was in Citizen News. And because of lack of cooperation. So that is where the problem is. There is a government in Uganda, and probably in Turkana, a national government in Turkana, which is for Turkana.
And a national government
in West Pokot, which is
DG.
So that is where the challenge is. That's why we need the CS to come in and
mediate.
But we've tried in West Pokot, for example, like now, in terms of education, we've provided bursaries for the students, and we are doing it. We are launching it on Monday. The governor will launch it on Monday about a budget of about 600 million, and we are giving bursaries to every student.
600 million shillings.
Yes,
bursary.
for bursaries. Yes.
For secondary or for primary?
For secondary and colleges and universities. And
how many students are you targeting?
44,000.
44,000 children?
Yes.
Is it a full bursary or is it partial bursary?
It's a partial bursary, but it's for all. But the least will get about 5,000, and the highest probably 20.
What's the plan here?
We are trying to encourage. So we try to bring our children to school, because majority of these families are not able to provide for their children. So we are trying to come with a scheme of the county government to increase retention rate in schools.
Why?
Because of this kind of literacy level, also because it contributes to this kind of these other activities, which is not good for the county, the insecurities. So we are trying to provide bursary as a county government to supplement the national government, so that we can be able to increase our retention in schools for our kids, and because the parents are not also able to provide. Some of the parents are not able to provide.
So this is something that you have established, that very many children are dropping out of school for lack of school fees.
Yes.
And 44,000 of them will now receive at least 5,000 shillings.
Yes.
Going upwards to how much? What's that?
To
20,000.
To 20,000 per year.
Yes.
Or is it per term?
Yes, because we have categories of day schools, we have categories of boarding schools, and we have universities and colleges. Yes.
It's a big program.
Yes, a very big one. We will launch it on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bona DG, we thank you very much for joining us today. Asante sana. Please come again soon and let's talk about this after you've launched it, after it's been rolled out.
Yes.
Let's see the impact. If 44,000 children stay in school and they are no longer now carrying AK-47s out there, then that's progress towards something.
Probably they are not that is the misconception, which is not actually. If you come to West Pokot, you'll find it is a very peaceful place.
It's not AK-47s all over.
They are not there.
Okay.
So yeah.
His Excellency Robert Komolle is the Deputy Governor of West Pokot County. He's been our guest this hour. Keep it here for more conversations.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.